Okay, hello everyone. This is Naz, the solution engineer for Iris Analytics. And what I thought I'll do today is kind of like record a small demo of Iris Analytics for Financial Services Cloud. What we're going to do over the next couple of minutes is basically just walk you through the out-of-the-box components that come within that SKU, which is Iris Analytics for Financial Services. We're going to take just one persona, which is the advisor in the wealth management in the wealth management pillar. And just FYI, be aware that within the FSC, there's 3 different pillars. You've got your wealth management, you've got your banker or retail banking, and also you've got your insurance. And within each of those pillars, you've got 2 personas. You've got the frontliners. So these are your advisors and bankers and insurance agents. And you've got the executives. So these are the management, right? The people who focus on, they have teams, they have directs, they have accounts, and they have to look at, they want to be able to kind of like look at their performance, etc. So there's a lot of components there's around probably 40 plus dashboards, free models within the SKU, which is Iris Analytics for Financial Services. But what we will be doing over the next couple of minutes is just looking at an example of a financial advisor in the wealth management and seeing how we can leverage that analytics and insights in his day-to-day process. And this is what we call the intelligent experience. So let's start with the demo. What you see here in front of me is actually an org, a CRM, a financial service instance. And you'll notice that there's a wealth management on the top left corner. And as an advisor, when I log into my CRM, I want to be able to have all these sort of insights. I want to be able to kind of like have a sort of a guidance navigation, right? That kind of like helps me throughout and helps me as an advisor understand what are the things that I'm missing out today? What should I do? And what are the sort of next steps that I can go and focus on? That's the whole idea of Iris Analytics for Financial Services. So if I look at this page in here, initially or traditionally, if you don't have Iris Analytics, then in theory, that component in the middle, you won't have that in there, right? You might have like one dashboard or a couple of reports, and that's it pretty much. But you notice in here, you still have your leads, you still have your tasks. If you have any sort of events, everything is still in here. Now, the beauty about Iris Analytics is as an advisor, as a login now, I've got the ability to slice and dice the data and try and determine the sort of insights that I need for my decision sort of making, right? So quickly in here, I can look at, I'm focusing now on my current clients. I can go and see all my current metrics. And I've got a comparison between today versus last month. So I'm just looking at, all my KPIs and trying to understand how we're doing today versus how we did last month, pretty much, right? And I noticed that there's a couple of challenging points in here. There's total balances, so we're not bringing much total balances compared to last month. Assets under maintenance, which is one of the metrics that I care about as an advisor. Same thing, we kind of like has a negative 13% negative, and same with the wallet share. Also from here, I can go and kind of like slice and dice and understand, show me the top sort of clients that have a sort of AUM change or asset under management change from either a dollar figure or from a percentage figure, right? So I can go and look at all these sort of stuff. I can look at the largest increase and largest decrease at the same time, right? So if I want to go and say, let's look at the dollar figure, I can go and look at all this information, and right from within here, you can go and take action. This is one of the value add for these sort of insights, because you want to be able to not just look at insights and determine what the insights are, but to be able to action those right from within the sort of the process that you're at with, in this instance, your CRM, rather than you having to jump between 2 screens. So in here, I can go and say, I want to go and create a post, collaborate and share with my other advisor and say, hey, do you have any information on Neil Simmons, adding to this fund? I might go and log a call and just understand what happened with Neil. Or simply I can also kind of like drill down to that sort of account and be able to look at Mr. Neil Simmons' account for more information. Now I'm going to go back to my home. So that's basically what my current clients are doing today. The other thing now I'm going to view is, what I want to look at, how am I growing my business? And in here, there's two very simple widgets. The first widget is basically your client acquisitions, and it's showing you all the sort of, the number of leads and referrals, how long they're sitting with you, right? So that kind of like gives you a little bit of understanding on how natural or how good the sort of lead to conversion and how long it's staying in these sort of queues, right? So for instance, I can look at most of my leads are sitting on a monthly basis, pretty much. We do have 27 leads that do sit more than a month, 2 months, in fact, and we have 10 leads that are over 120 days of age, right? But the other thing here is I can go and see that because we've just started the quarter, so I'm still at 0%, okay? So we haven't added any assets under management. So for me, that could be a little bit of a worry, and I need to understand, okay, Einstein, can you kind of like go and guide me through which of the accounts that I should go in and talk to that would potentially help me close that number or get my number for this quarter from an asset under management perspective? So this is now where we can see we have two different buttons, right? So you have clients at risk. This is mainly if I'm making my number, for instance, and I want to kind of like manage my relationship. I want to look at my customers that are at risk. I can now flip into that one. Or what I want to do now is simply go and say, hey, Einstein, can you give me a potential score or predictions on what's the likelihood, what are some of my accounts or clients that are likely to add to the assets, to their assets or add to their funds, right? And that would help me throughout making my number for this quarter. And this is interesting. So now if I look at this one, on the left-hand side, these are all the accounts, and you'll see there's thousands of accounts that I look after, right? Now, if I didn't have predictions in here, if I don't have Einstein, then in theory, you have to either use, follow your guts feeling, right? And go and say, well, I believe, Johnston Moore, I can go and close these guys. Yeah, they have a big sort of, assets under management. I think I can get something. I can add some assets to their funds, right? So either you use your guts feeling or you go and say, you know what, I don't know what to do. I'm just going to go randomize it. What we've done is now we've added the prediction aspect of it. So as a platform within Einstein Analytics, you've got all these out-of-the-box models. And what we've done in here, you can see there's a widget in the bottom, which is basically predicted likelihood score to add funds. So we've created these buckets or these groups. We said, we looked at these accounts and, we gave you scores and we grouped these scores. Anything less than 25, in theory, pretty much I wouldn't really focus on now because that's more like it's going to take a lot of time to nurture those accounts and close them. And then I have 25 to 50, then I have 50 to 75, and I've got greater than 75. So potentially these are my low-hanging fruits, right? There's 20 accounts in here or 20 clients that I can go and potentially add to their funds, right? So if I click on that 20 now, you'll see here on the left-hand side, that list went from thousands to literally 20. At the same time, all the different widgets here has been faceted, or the context has been passed to all these widgets. So I can clearly see out of those 20, they all have a wallet share less than 25. So guess what? There's a lot of room for me to add to that funds. That's a potential win for me. Then I also have the different sort of split by different sort of amount or fund amount, right? So I've got anything less than 250, anything between 250 and 500K, and anything between 500 and 750K, right? 750K. So when I focus on the big funds, now I went from thousands of accounts to literally 6 accounts. So I can go and say, today, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to focus on these accounts, and I'm going to go and take actions and try to get funds, try to add assets to these funds, for instance, okay? So how do we do that? Similar to what I did initially, I can look at the first one. So this is Connell Young, Mr. Connell Young, right? The platform is giving me a score of a score of more than 75 of him to go in likelihood, or more than 70% to go and close or add to the fund. So now I can drill down on Connell Young, and again, similar to what I showed you earlier, I can go and create a task, I can go and create a call, I can add a note for it, I can simply now drill into that account and get more information in here. Okay. So now this is the sort of information that I have in here. I'm looking at Mr. Connell Young. What you'll see here in front of you is the traditional sort of page, right? Now, on the right-hand side is your Honest Analytics. And in theory, if you don't have that, you will only have kind of like this sort of system of records with all that information. And again, there's no right or wrong. It's just basically the power of how you can go and leverage insights into your day-to-day process. So literally, you'll be looking at the same sort of page, but now you've got insights that is powering your decisions, or guiding you through what should I go and do about it. So let's look at this example. So Mr. Connell Young, I know that there's a potential of him to add. He's got a very high score of him to add the assets. So I'm looking at the model, and you'll see there's one model on Einstein Buy and one model on Einstein Attrition. So what's the likelihood of Mr. Connell Young to add to the assets? What I know is there's a score, so there's a prediction. it's telling me there's 63.7% likelihood of Mr. Connell Young to add to the assets. Now and this is important. If I actually just give you a score and stop here, what we've noticed is not a lot, and just think about it for a second, right? If I just see a score, are you really going to go and trust that score? Or you might just ignore it, right? Because you might go and say, this is a score that's pretty cool, but how do I trust it? Why do I know this score is because of what? We've created what we call diagnostic analytics and preemptive analytics, which is basically, can you tell me what are the drivers? What are the key drivers that are driving that score in here? So I can potentially see that within Mr. Connell Young, his time horizon is a long-term investment. The performance year to date is between this much and this one. His rebalance frequency is annually, and you can notice here there's a little bit of a dip, right? So this is a red sort of a traffic color. So that's basically affecting the score in a negative way, right? And then I can go and also see some other factors, or where is Mr. Connell Young against the baseline, so from the benchmark. Now this is amazing because now I can understand where that score is coming from, and I can see the drivers that are driving the score to be at that stage. The beauty about this now is Einstein can go and tell me what is the best recommendation or the best action that I need to take in order to increase my likelihood or increase that potential or the probability of Mr. Connell Young to add to the funds. And it's simply saying, if you change the rebalance frequency to quarterly, then you can increase that score by 13 dots. So let's do that. I'm going to take that action. I'm going to go and look at my rebalance frequency. So you see here, this is annually, and I'm going to go and update that to quarterly. Now, the second I hit save, right, you're going to see here automatically the model is going to refresh and it's going to update, and it's going to give me now, based on the new action that I took, the new score. So it's going to say, because you took that action, now Mr. Connell Young is at a higher score of likelihood to add to the funds at 77%. Again, I can see all the drivers, and now I can go and see there's no more actions or no recommendations to go in and take. Now let's look at the second out-of-the-box model, which is attrition. What's the likelihood of Mr. Connell Young to leave us or to attrit, right? And this is also quite important. Now I can, similar to what I've showed you earlier with the Einstein buy or likelihood to add to the assets, there's a score. And again, from the score in here, I can go and see different sort of a traffic colors, right? So this is an amber. So it's not saying that it's risky, but it's in the warning zone, right? So, hey, I need to still kind of like look at it and try to see how we can go and manage it, because if I don't, eventually it might fall in the red zone, and then eventually we might lose this account, right? And if we lost this account, this is a big potential for us to bring in more funds to the assets, which means it would affect my number as an advisor. So similar story, we can go and look at all the drivers. So I can go and look at demographics like age group, for instance. What was the performance year to date? What was the performance quarter to date, right? What was the performance 3 years ago? So all that information is coming from right within the CRM, right within my FSCs in this instance. And also I can go and see what should I do or what can I do about it, right? So in short, it's saying in order to kind of like decrease that churn score, then you need to do the last interaction into 0 to 3 months. So pretty much you have to go and interact with them. And if I look at when was the last time we interacted with them, it was like almost a year ago, 12 months, right? So we haven't really interacted with them in over a year. So I understand going and saying, hey, why don't you go and try to interact with them and try to interact with them once every quarter, right? That's the recommendation. So let's go and test that. Let's go and go into actually created a call. We scheduled a call and we said we're going to go and meet with Mr. Connell Young today. I'm going to go and update my last interaction into, let's just do it, 2019. Click on save. So I've updated that to today. And now you'll see here automatically kind of like, increased or decreased the churn score from a 37 point something now to 19%. And again, you'll notice here the improvement has changed now. So now it's saying because you've done that, the next time you can go in and schedule a review is in the next 5 to 6 months. So in theory now, I can go and schedule a review over the next 5 to 6 months. And that would also kind of like manage or maintain that churn score. So this is what you get out of the box, and this is what an augmented analytics from an FSC perspective, where Einstein Analytics is built, for Einstein Analytics that is built on top of FSC, this is exactly what you guys get out of the box. Hope you guys enjoyed this demo. Again, if you have any sort of questions, please reach out to our team. There's way more videos in here that talks about other sort of dashboards. We're more than happy to help and showcase that. Thank you so much for listening.